Hey guys, Carrie for Teen Wolf, Season 5, Episode 18, The Maid of Gevaudan, and I was really looking forward to this episode. Ever since I heard that it was announced that Crystal Reed was going to come back to play a new role, I was very interested in the way that they were going to do this. It sounded very interesting, and especially because it sounded like it really connected to the Beast. And if you guys remember, one of my favorite episodes, I think, of Teen Wolf in general is an episode from Season 3 called Visionary. It's where we find out Derek's past, and then we find out Deucallion's past. It's a really great episode. This episode really seemed like it was going to be like that, and this was by far the best episode of the season. I love this episode. The flashbacks in this episode were incredible. I'll talk about the way that those were done, and seemingly we know the identity of the Beast, but I don't really think we do. I feel like there's more going on. I'm going to get to that, but let's just get into this episode because it really was incredible, and I really have to give it to the creators of this show because the way the flashbacks were done, if you guys noticed, they were filmed differently than the other scenes. I mean, all the flashbacks were shot in like widescreen and it looked like a movie. It was really cool the way they did it. I really like that. We start in 1710 in the French territory of North America. A soldier's wounded and he's being helped up by one of his own. Another soldier writes that the French are losing the war to the British and that the only thing keeping him alive is the hope of seeing Marie Jeanne, his sister, again. And the soldiers make their way into a cabin, come face to face with a woman who tells them that they have to come to the wrong place to hide. She tells them there's something else out there, a creature of the night, a shapeshifter, a demon, and they ask one more time, and she says that it's a demon wolf, and they, of course, have no idea what's going on, and meanwhile, the cabin is being surrounded with British soldiers who all have their guns aimed at the cabin, and of course, we know that the Beast has been around for a very long time, and this episode really showed that. However, out of nowhere, they come under attack by the Beast. One soldier finds his way, but is ripped out by the Beast, and, now I thought that was a great way to get us into this time period, and all the scenes in this time period are extremely gripping, I have to say. Really, it was a really nice change of pace. Like, there of course was stuff going on in the present, but in the past it was really cool the way they did this. So Gerard says that the letter was written and found its way to a woman who would later go on to be known as the Maid of Gevaudan, but her real name was Marie Jeanne, or Marie Jeanne, that was her name, Marie Jeanne, and the story was being told to Lydia and Parrish, and as we know, Lydia and Parrish, basically, he was able to save her and everything. Well, of course, we knew that he saved her and everything, but they're the only ones that are not at the school, so it made sense why they're here, and Lydia especially, what's going on with her in this episode, I really did love. Parrish says that maybe someone should resurrect her. Parrish leaves because he doesn't feel that he's the one to do this, that he's not a harbinger of death, he's the person that kills people, and he really feels that he should not be listening to this story, and it's kind of sad that Parrish is kind of ashamed of what he's becoming, but it does make sense, definitely. So, the rest of the episode, Chris and Gerard tell Lydia to just let him go, and they tell Lydia that they believe that she can be the one to stop the Beast, which is very interesting that Lydia could be the one to stop it, and obviously, Lydia doesn't really know if she's capable of doing such a thing, and we then see Stiles and Hayden are rushing Liam to a safe place as he cries out in pain. As we know, the Beast is now in the school, and he's ripped up and asks if it's bad and gets conflicting answers from Hayden and Stiles, and I like that Hayden seems to be a full-fledged member of this team. She doesn't seem, the pack. She doesn't seem to be along with Theo's pack. Again, Theo's pack is gone. I don't know what the hell happened to them, but they weren't even in this episode, and that really didn't matter to me because everything else was just so interesting. I didn't really need to see them, but they really do need to get us to understand, where is Theo's pack? Is it still there? Is there something else going on? The end of the episode shows that maybe it's still there, but Hayden definitely is not a part of it, we can tell. So basically, we see Styles almost passes out, and I like what Hayden says. What do you guys usually do? And Styles like, I usually pass out. I like that Styles does have some of his humor back. That's something that definitely has been missing from this season. Not necessarily missing, like I haven't really needed it, but it's good to have it back because that's part of the character. He tells Hayden that maybe adding pain could take away some of his. She kisses Liam, and she's able to take away some of his pain, which I thought was really cool the way that she was able to do that. So Liam is continuing to do research on Marie Jeanne when Gerard tells her that they were much alike one another. Not Liam, I meant Lydia. And basically we find out that they were very alike. He tells her that Marie Jeanne was also a skeptic of the supernatural at one point. And then flashback, Marie Jeanne is in the tavern reading the letter from her brother, and she's told not to give up hope on him when she overhears men talking about a young girl who was killed by the Beast, and they say that the wolf never eats its victims and that it kills for sports. And they elect to form a hunting party, and Sebastian walks in with Marcel, who are the two men that she met, by the way, and tells them that they have the best hunter in Marie-Jeanne. She runs over and embraces them, and the entire tavern begins to chant her name to encourage her to hunt this beast, and she really doesn't know if she can do that, which I like seeing. And very much like Lydia, she doesn't really know if she's capable of doing such a thing, and she says she hunts animals, not myths, and that's not really what she's meant out to do. She hunts, animals that are wild, and she does not really hunt things like this. I mean, this is much more powerful than anything. And then a man brings in the body of a tavern. By the way, I forgot to say, Crystal Reed really, I think, did a great job here. This is a very hard thing for her to do, completely be a completely different character than Allison, and she did it very well. Sure, the accents might not been that great. I definitely will say that the accents weren't the strongest in this episode, but that didn't really matter. The acting was very strong. I think she really did a great job. Crystal Reed was always a great actress. It was great to see her back, definitely. So, a man brings in the body of a tavern keeper's son who was found in the woods. The boy's last words was "La Betty," and Marie-Jeanne says she doesn't know what Beast did that, but to ready the hunting party. And in present day, the Beast tosses Scott down the stairs and takes off. Scott shows his teeth and goes after him. And Gerard then continues the story of Marie-Jeanne, who is being warned by her brother when it comes to hunting the Beast that it's not a good idea and that she doesn't really know what she's doing. And he tells her that she will need more than ordinary steel to stop the Beast, and Marie-Jeanne gets ready to leave with the hunting party as they move through the woods in the evening. They search from dawn till dusk, hoping to find the Beast. They know that it would be nightfall when the Beast would come out, and after midnight, the Beast began to attack one by one, and Marie-Jeanne could hear her men around her being killed, and she finally fires at the Beast, cutting his skin. She was caught by the Beast, and before he could finish her, a man comes out of the woods and tells her to get down. He throws what looks like mountain ash towards it, and it sends the Beast back, which, that scene was awesome. I love the way that was done. That was really cool. And basically, she says that was no normal wolf, and the man says, of course not, it was in fact a werewolf. So now they know what a werewolf is and everything, and I like that we realize that she didn't hunt werewolves, she just hunted animals. Like, she didn't hunt, like, mythical creatures. She hunts wolves, and that's all she did, and I think that was interesting. And this is clearly something that Marie-Jeanne has never faced before. She never really had to face any kind of creatures like this, and I like seeing that. Very interesting stuff. So, Beacon Hills High School's in a panic. Malia's hectically trying to find Styles. She calls Braden, tells her to bring all of her shotguns because they need literally everything. They don't know how to take on this beast, but all they know is that they need a shit ton of weapons. They need the entire pack and need as many people as they can get. So, Scott saves a girl from a close encounter with a beast, which I found it interesting that in the flashbacks we heard about a girl being attacked by the beast, and then Scott saved a girl. Just a good connection that way. There are many of that in this episode, and it doesn't seem like a huge thing, but it's just cool. The way that was done, I like that. And they're both locked in a classroom. He peers out of the window to check and make sure the beast isn't there because he doesn't know where it could be. It could literally be anywhere. It could be behind him for all he knows. And you really feel the tension in this episode. And I feel like that's something we haven't had as much. Well, we have, but the beast definitely hasn't been the main focus. And now that we're done with saving people and they have the entire pack back, now they can really focus on, finding out who the beast is. And you can tell that they don't really know how to take the beast down because they never really dealt with anything like it before. And I like that Scott really doesn't know where the beast is. He's trying to find it, and when the beast begins to attack, he tells the girl to go out the window. The beast attacks him, pulls him out of the room, and just the fact that Scott can't really defeat the beast, I mean, it just shows how powerful the beast really is. So Lydia senses that something is wrong, but Chris and Gerard urge her to stay and listen to the story because, she can tell when there's something bad happening. Of course, she knows that they are in danger, and she keeps telling him, look, you're all gonna die. So definitely Lydia senses something, but they need her to listen to the story. She decides to stay. Gerard tells her that Henry brought Marie-Jeanne to his cabin where she discovered mountain ash and mistletoe. She asks him why he has all of that, and he tells her that he was protecting himself, of course, we know that that's the thing that weakens wolves, and he says he has spent his life gathering the right tools to defend himself against one. He asks her if she wants to know, and she says she doesn't want to know how to survive one, she wants to know how to kill it, because that's what she wants to do. She doesn't want to keep survive it because she doesn't know how powerful it is. She knows she can't fight against it. She just wants to kill it. So Scott stumbles in the library, visibly hurt. He's stalked by the beast, and I like seeing Scott hurt. I like seeing him not being able to take down this beast. It shows that this is not really something they've dealt with before. He's stalked by the beast, but finds that there are more innocent students in the room, looks around, tells him to go upstairs after hearing the beast roar. They obey, and the beast bursts in the library. He roars, but Scott roars back and gets ready for another fight, and really intense stuff here. Gerard then continues the story of Marie-Jeanne ordering everyone to drink to honor the the dead. They make a toast to the dead and drink when Marcel sees some berries at the bottom of his glass, breaks the glass in his hand. She asks him if he has something to wrap his hands with after taking him outside. He tells her she will find what she's looking for in the cellar, and Marie-Jeanne takes the keys from him and ventures down to the cellar with the lantern. When she finally reaches the bottom, she's immediately shocked by what she finds. She returns to Marcel with a bow and arrow aimed at him. He begs her to let the arrow fly, and it's later revealed that there was nothing but bodies in the cellar. So basically not what they wanted to find at all was there, which is very interesting. And it was just simply bodies. There really wasn't anything there. It was just bodies in the cellar, which I found very interesting that we found out. That was definitely very interesting. So basically she lets the arrow into him, but she realizes that he is not the killer Marcel was covering for the real Beast Sebastian, and that he wasn't really the Beast. So again, you can tell that he really doesn't know what she's talking about, and I think that's very interesting, especially if that, that is very important, which I'll talk about why I think that's very important, because there's a very important part of that I really do think applies to the end of this episode. So Gerard tells Lydia that Marie-Jeanne confronted her brother the moment she walked back into the tavern. She tells him that he has killed children, and he tells her that he is to kill whatever crosses his path, and he tells her he drank from the water of a footprints from the beast, and that's how he became the demon wolf, and his first kill was the woman who warned him in the tavern. He tells his sister to tell him about him, and this obviously is very hard for Marie-Jeanne, because we know that she wants to kill the beast, but knowing that it's her brother is something that's even harder for her to deal with, because she doesn't know if she wants to kill him. She wants to know why he do such a thing, and especially her brother, who she cares about and who she knows he cares about her. Why would he do such a thing? It doesn't seem like something he'd do. And I know that, of course, we didn't know these characters till now, but we don't really need to know these characters because they relate so well to the present thing that's going on, and we understand their motivation, we understand the story so well, that just by knowing, what Marie is going through and knowing what Marie-Jeanne has to do, it makes sense why she's so worried about having to take down, having to take down the beast. It's just very interesting. I really like seeing that. So he tells his sister to tell them all about him, watching them tear them all apart. She calls him a monster, and he says that he's a beast. He gets up, tells her that she won't catch him or kill him because they are family, and that she's just not going to do that. They're family, and she's not going to be able to kill him. So you really see that he's using this against her, which was very interesting. He walks to the tavern. Marie-Jeanne had to go back to Henry to figure out how to kill a beast and a brother, because this is her brother. This is a completely different scenario. This is not just, some random person. This is her brother, who, of course, she has a connection with. Henry tells Marie-Jeanne that they need something that they can use the beast's weight against itself. He presents her with a spear, and she places the silver tip on with her own hands, and basically, which was very interesting that we saw that. And as we know, when Allison was, of course, trained to hunt down werewolves, she did use a bow and arrow, if you remember. That's basically the main weapon that they used, and that's very similar to what's going on with Marie-Jeanne, who, of course, is a ancestor of hers, because, that's why she looks like her. So in present day, Scott is getting his ass handed to him by the beast. The whole library is watching him in the showdown against the beast. They square off, but Liam comes flying in and hits the beast, and you don't know. I mean, I really didn't know what was going to happen here. I was like, oh my god, is they going to be able to take them down the beast? And Braden follows, begins unloading shots into the beast. The beast takes off. For now, at least, the beast takes off. And Braden scolds Scott for thinking he had a chance against it, because, of course, he didn't. And it makes sense why Scott thought that. I mean, everything else they've had to deal with, even the Dread Doctors, it's been pretty simple. I mean, they know what they're doing, but the Beast is just a completely different entity altogether, and they can't really take it down. He tells her he didn't think he had a chance, but he did get it sent, and that was his main thing, was to get it sent, so he knows when the Beast is approaching, and that's why he did that. So you really do see that he knows he can't take it down alone, but he just did it so that way he could get it sent, so that way when it attacks, he'll know when to go after it. So meanwhile, Gerard continues the story of Marie-Jeanne's 3-year hunt of Sebastian before cornering him. Sebastian's chasing after his sister as she runs through the snowy woods. He turns into the beast, begins to run after her when she slides in the snow to grab her spear. She drives the spear into the beast, who turns back into Sebastian. He tells her that the minor injury won't stop him, and that's when he is done killing everyone. He will complete more horrors so that others will remember his name, and that's something that he wants. The beast wants to be remembered. She tells him that no one will remember him. She tells him how she forged the spear with mountain ash and their blood under the full moon. She tells him that he will only be remembered as a beast. She pulls the spear from him and walks away, and I can understand if someone was underwhelmed by this, that we didn't really get to see enough of her training, but I think they really told the story enough. Like, we saw that this was very hard for her to do. She had to be trained to kill her own brother, which obviously wasn't something she wanted to do, but she just had to do it because her brother was gone, and he was completely taken over by the beast, and basically Gerard says that every piece of information regarding Sebastian was burned by Marie-Jeanne and the rest of the villagers because obviously they don't want to remember his name. He was, this huge killer that they don't remember, and it makes sense why they had to burn everything because he ruined the town. And the name Sebastian Ballet has not been forgotten has not been named for years. No one has said that name in years. And Gerard and Chris says that if the teenagers remember the name, that's when it becomes much more dangerous. So basically whoever the teenager is that's taking that's taking form of the beast, they're now lost. Like they're gone. Like basically Gerard says that if you take the form of the beast and you remember the name Sebastian Ballet, that's you become. You're no longer yourself, you're gone. And obviously the beast that's out there probably is starting to remember who they really are. So that's very interesting. And it makes sense what's going on with the Dread Doctors now, because now the Dread Doctors want the beast to remember who they really are. If you remember, the Dread Doctors don't think the beast is working hard enough. That's really what they want the beast to do. And it makes sense that their main mission is for the beast to remember that they are Sebastian Ballet and, change them from who they are to Sebastian Ballet. And that's clear that's what the Dread Doctors want to do. And I like seeing that because I've been kind of wondering what really the Dread Doctors are trying to do, and now we know, and I like seeing that. So we still don't really know what Theo's clue is, though. Like, what does he think is going on? We don't really know. So Lydia tells them that Marie-Jeanne didn't do it on her own, that they need Parrish, and that he can definitely help them, because again, the prophecy with the Hellhound facing the Beast, and they tell her that she's not the same as Parrish, and she asks Gerard why he's suddenly on their side. Because, yeah, that is a good question. I mean, Gerard, he's been on their side before, like, he's helped Scott, but he's not really been on their side like he has here, especially with something like this. He would encourage on just killing wolves, and he tells her it's because Marie-Jeanne was related to him. She took Henry Argent's last name, and, I mean, obviously, we know that she was related to Allison, so she took Henry Argent's last name. She was the first hunter, and they vowed that the Argent name will be remembered, and Lydia says that there's two problems, that she's not an Argent and she's not Allison. And it's clear to her that if Allison was alive, he would have said this story to Allison. And I think that's really what makes Lydia the most upset about this. It's not the fact that she knows that she really can't do this and she doesn't really think that she's the one to take down the beast and that they need Parrish. It's the fact that she herself feels that if Allison was around and she had not been killed, then they would have told the story to Allison, which they probably would have. I mean, Allison, of course, was Chris's daughter, and Gerard was her grandfather. It would make sense for them to tell her the story. She would be the one to face the beast, but of course, Allison's not around, and that would make sense why they can't really tell her what's going on. By the way, no Kira in this episode, surprisingly. I don't know why. Kira just wasn't here. But she just wasn't in this episode for whatever reason. I don't know why. Malia was, but Kira really wasn't. But I like that Lydia said this because, yeah, this is a problem for her to deal with. She's not an Argent. They want her to be an Argent, but she's not an Argent, and she can't be something that she's not. It's that simple. And if they want her to be this, they can't. That's just not how it's going to work. She's not an Argent, and there's nothing they can do about that. So meanwhile, Scott and Liam find the vehicle containing the bloody size 10 sneaker, and when they close the trunk lid, they realize that Mason is the Beast of Gevaudan. But I don't think he is, because Mason's asking them exactly what they're talking about. Because when they ask him straight out, when they look at him, he's like, what are you guys talking about? And when Corey comes out of hiding, he takes Mason with him. That's how the episode ends. I don't think Mason is the Beast. I'm going to say that right now, guys. I think Mason was framed. Because if you remember the story, they thought that, of course, that what's his name was that Marcel was the Beast, but he was really covering for Sebastian, and I feel the same thing is going on here. I really feel that Mason is covering for someone. He doesn't want anyone else to think that he's the Beast, but then when he says, what are you talking about, that's very questionable. Like, he's kind of covering for someone or something. I'm not really sure, because I'm thinking one of two things. Either he's covering for someone or he was framed. I'm not really sure. I definitely think that he's not the Beast. It would be too easy for Scott to just figure out the Beast like that. It doesn't really seem like that's it. I feel like he's not the Beast, especially since Corey took him. I definitely feel there's more to it, and me personally, I don't even think Mason knows really what the Beast can do, what it's capable of. I don't think he really knows about that. So Mason definitely is not the Beast, and even though this show has made us think that, he's not the Beast. I'm going to say that right now, and if you guys think he's the Beast, that's really cool, but I don't think Mason's the Beast. I think that Definitely, there's something more going on here. We'll have to see what it is because Mason 1, he is himself. He's not Sebastian, he's not Sebastian yet, obviously. And plus, I know that there are clues, but it just seems too obvious to me that Mason would be the Beast. I've heard people, run polls. Mason's been the number one choice. It just would be too obvious that the show would do that. Teen Wolf has never been a predictable show. It's always been very unpredictable, and this just seems way too predictable. So I don't think that Mason's the Beast. I feel there's more going on here. If he is, then that's really cool, but that was a really lame reveal. So I don't think he's the Beast. I feel like there's more going on. I don't think the show would just do that, have him reveal himself to Scott like that. I think that'd be really stupid if they did. So I definitely feel there's more going on there, and I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen with that, because that definitely is very interesting. But let's talk about this whole situation. Now, if he is the Beast, what does Corey want with him? Why did Corey take him? What's going on there? Because there's definitely something going on. There's definitely something of Theo's pack. Even though we haven't really seen Theo's pack, it's definitely there. Even though we haven't seen it, like I said, it's out there. We just don't know how. So we'll have to see what's going on there. And then the Dread Doctors, we kind of now know what the Dread Doctors want to do. They want the Beast to remember that they're supposed to be Sebastian, and that's who they really are. And even though that they might not remember who Sebastian is, that's who they're supposed to be. And that is very interesting. I'm definitely interested in seeing where that's going to go, because, again, we know that they're supposed to be Sebastian. They don't remember that they're Sebastian, but that's who they're supposed to be. And that's definitely very interesting to me. We'll have to see what happens there. But also, the other thing I thought was very interesting about this episode is us finding out this whole situation with Marie-Jeanne. I found her to be a very interesting character. And then Lydia. Lydia, do you think that she's, the right person to fight the Beast? I mean, I could see her doing it, but she's definitely going to need help. I mean, if Scott needs help, Lydia definitely is going to need help. Lydia cannot do this on her own. Lydia needs Parrish. She needs the pack. The entire pack needs to fight the Beast. The season finale of this season is called the Pack. So definitely the pack is going to come together to take down the Beast. I'm going to say that right now. That definitely is something that is going to happen. And as much as Gerard wants her to do this by herself, she can't. One, again, she's not an Argent, she's not Allison, and I really feel she's feeling kind of betrayed. Like, she's kind of just there for them because she's the last result. That if Allison would have been there, they would have gone right to her and say, hey, Allison, can you do this for us? They would not have asked Lydia to do it. They wouldn't even thought of the idea, because Lydia, yes, she probably would have still had the same powers, but Allison would still be around. And now that she's not, that's why they need Lydia. And that's obviously why she's really upset about this, because, Marie-Jeanne was, of course, Allison's ancestor. So that's very interesting. I'd love to see more of that story, tap into that history, but find out a little bit more about Marie-Jeanne, because she actually is a very fascinating character. They could have easily made her a one-off, but I really find her to be very fascinating. This is a girl that, she fought animals. She didn't fight creatures, but she had to learn not only to fight a creature, but to fight her own brother, and it's something she didn't really want to do, but she's gonna have to do, and that's very interesting. And if Mason really is the Beast, then that's a very interesting situation for Liam, because he has to fight his best friend, and that definitely is very interesting. I kind of want something like that. I want an interesting situation like what Marie-Jeanne had to face, but Mason being the Beast doesn't really prove to be much of a struggle for Lydia or for Parrish, so I definitely feel there's more going on there. And also, Lydia definitely needs to convince Parrish, because Parrish seems like he's not really interested in fighting the Beast. He doesn't think he can take it down, and I understand that. I don't think it's so much that he isn't interested. I think it's more that he's so worried about his abilities. He knows what he can do, and he knows he's so powerful that he's really worried about what he's capable of, and he doesn't want to hurt Lydia, as we know. We know that he likes Lydia, he has these feelings for her, and he doesn't want to hurt her, and that obviously is his biggest fear, is him getting involved and hurting Lydia, doing anything that could harm to her. He doesn't want to do that, and Lydia is going to need to convince him, look, you need to step up, you need to fight against the Beast, because, again, she can't do it on her own, and that's definitely something that they need him for, and I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Like I said, I really loved the cinematography in this episode, and the way that we were able to cut between the flashbacks and the present scenes were really cool, because a lot of shows, when they do flashbacks, it is hard to tell, is this a flashback or is it real, and this did this very well by having the flashbacks in, like, widescreen and the others in, like, regular format. I thought it was really cool the way they did that. I've never really seen Teen Wolf do that before, but I really like the way they did that, and they really represent the 1700s very well here. Of course, things like Vampire Diaries Originals, I've seen that before, but not on Teen Wolf. That's something they've never done, and I really did like seeing that. My other question with the finale is Derek. Derek is definitely coming back. We've heard from the beginning that Derek is going to be in the season at some point. are they possibly going to need Derek? I mean, maybe they will. Maybe Derek will be in the finale. I could see that being a possibility. I am hearing that Derek is probably going to be back at some point, and we don't know in what form. I mean, Braden's back, so Derek, you think has to show up at some point. I don't know if Tyler Hoechlin has shot stuff. I believe he has. I've heard that Tyler Hoechlin has done things here and there, but Derek has to be out there. He definitely is out there, and I think he would definitely be a good person to fight off the Beast. Definitely, we could see what's going on there. But let's talk about Theo's pack, because we haven't seen Deucallion in a while, and Deucallion, as we know, wants Scott's eyes. We know that whole situation's going on. We know that he's kind of taken over the team, and there's a bit of a power struggle between him and Theo right now. But what is his agenda with the Beast? Because obviously he knows what the Dread Doctors want. What does he really want with the Beast? Because clearly there's something going on there. We don't know what that is. I'd love to hear more of the history between the Beast and Deucallion. But guys, we have 2 episodes left, and I can't believe it. I can't believe that we had 2 episodes left. The season has just gone by so fast, I have to say. Even those episodes I weren't as into, I still thought were really strong episodes. And this episode, like I said, was by far the best episode of the season, because now we know the Beast's motivation. We know more about the Beast. It's not confusing to me. The past few episodes I've been like, I don't really know what I'm watching. I'm just really interested. That's really what it's been like. Like, I've been interested in this story. I just haven't really known what's going on. Now that I do know what's going on, that makes me even more interested in, the Beast, because obviously I do want to know what's going on. This is a case where I don't just want to watch something and be like, oh, I think I know what's going on. No, I do want to know what's going on. I want to know the full details, and this episode really showed that when you know the full details, it really does benefit, because now not only do we know the origin of the Beast, we know who the Beast was, we know who the Beast's, ancestors, things like that. We know what the Beast's motivation is, and we know what the Dread Doctors want with it, so it makes it even more interesting, and there are a lot of possibilities for the rest of this season, which I really do like. I also want to talk about Hayden, because I like seeing Hayden being a part of this pack. How did she get away from Theo, though? Because we didn't really see her get away from Theo. We saw Deucallion kind of manipulate her and say, you need to have an ability to lie. So there is a part of me that feels that Hayden is lying to them, but from this episode, I don't really see how that's possible. I mean, Hayden, the way that she was acting here, it really seems like she is part of this team, and for whatever reason, she definitely is in love with Liam. I'm saying that right now. Whatever, if she's working with them or not, her love for Liam, that's all real. That's definitely real. I see that as real. If she's able to heal him by kissing him, then it's real, definitely. You can tell that that's real. She definitely is not playing around with that, and that definitely is real. But then Kira, we did not see Kira in this episode. She also needs to tap into her abilities. I feel like Kira doesn't really know. She thinks that she's so powerful too. It's kind of like Parrish, where she needs to get herself ready to fight off the Beast, because she thinks that she's too powerful, that she won't be able to fight it off, that she's just as powerful, and I do like seeing that. That definitely is very interesting. I can't wait to see what's going on there. And guys, I know I'm rambling at this point, but there's just so much to say about this episode. I really did love everything about this episode. This was an amazing episode overall. Probably one of the best episodes of Teen Wolf we've had, honestly. I mean, just the way this episode was done. Yes, it was a one-off, but it was all mythology, and it really did get us closer to that reveal of the Beast, which I really did love seeing. Amazing episode, by far best episode of the season. I can't believe we have 2 episodes left. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Do you think Mason is a beast? Like I said, I really feel there's more going on there. I think that he's covering for someone, or he's being framed. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for the series premiere of Fuller House, which, guys, I don't know if it's going to be good. I really don't. I've heard very bad things, but I did hear the first episode is good. I will be reviewing the first episode and then review the season. I was going to review every episode, but there's no way I'm doing that. I will be reviewing the first episode in the season, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.